This audiovisual material was produced and published by 100 Books Collection.
Have you ever felt like the noise of everyday life took over and made it hard to hear your own voice? What if I told you there was a simple but profound exercise that could change your spiritual path, make your connection with God stronger, and give you peace like never before? We're going to talk about this practice called stillness today, and how it can help you get to know God and yourself in ways you never thought possible. Imagine being by a calm lake whose surface is so still that it reflects the sky exactly. This picture is a metaphor for stillness, a state of total peace and clarity that shows who we really are and the presence of God. But in today's fast-paced world, it seems nearly impossible to reach this state of stillness. Still, the old wisdom behind the phrase, "Be still and know that I am God," tells us that stillness can help us learn deep things about ourselves and the one who made us. What does stillness mean? Being still is more than just being quiet. It means giving up. Stillness means giving up our plans, fears, and wants. The word stillness comes from the Hebrew word rafa, which means to let go or release. For this is how we open ourselves up to a closer, deeper connection with the divine. To spiritual seekers, stillness is the way that God's presence and promise come to life. The art of being still. Finding your sacred space. To start, look for a place that is quiet and doesn't get too much in the way. If you want to feel safe and alone, this could be a certain part of your room, a quiet yard, or any other place. Setting the scene. Make a space that makes you feel calm. In this case, there could be dim lighting, a comfy seat, or natural features like plants or water. The goal is to lower the amount of sensory information so that you can concentrate. How to breathe. Take a few deep, slow breaths to calm your mind and keep your heart rate steady. As you breathe in, picture bringing in peace and stillness. As you breathe out, picture letting go of stress and noise. Mindfulness and meditation. To keep your thinking in check, use mindfulness. Focus on a simple mantra that has to do with giving up and knowing God, like let go and know. Let your thoughts come and go without focusing on them, and keep coming back to your breath or chant. Embracing silence. As you move deeper into silence, slowly cut down on the number of words in your chant. Enjoy the quiet and pay close attention. Thoughts and feelings can come to the surface in this space, giving you understanding and a link to the divine. How being still can help you grow spiritually. Stillness can be especially life-changing for people who have had a spiritual awakening. Ongoing growth in spiritual awareness and learning is made possible by it. People in the Bible, like Moses, Jeremiah, Mary, and Esther, found their divine callings not when things were going badly, but when they completely gave up control and let God do what He wanted. Getting deeper spiritual insights by being still. Focusing on being still isn't something you do just once. It's something you do every day. Over time, it makes you stronger and more open, which makes you more open to the Spirit's subtle moves. It shows us that God's strength is made perfect in our weakness. The more we practice stillness, the more this difficult truth becomes clear to us. Getting through hard times with stillness. It can be hard to accept stillness, especially when you're afraid or uncomfortable with letting go. But if you see these problems as God's way of asking you to believe and surrender more, they can become steps towards spiritual growth. Every time we give up something, we get closer to a better, deeper understanding of both God and ourselves. In a world that values movement and success, picking stillness might seem like the wrong thing to do. Still, it's when we let go and are quiet that we truly know in the biblical sense, getting a deep, intuitive knowledge of the divine. Adding stillness to your life will not only give you a place to escape the storm, but it will also help you see more clearly who you are meant to be in God's eyes. You should start adding stillness into your daily life. Start by doing it for just 5 minutes a day, and as you get used to it, add more time. Keep an eye on the changes in your health and mental life as a whole. Leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below, or join our group to talk about spiritual growth with other people. Remember that the quiet is where both information and change happen. Let's go on this stillness trip together and find the deep peace and understanding that are waiting for us. Dear seeker, you've arrived at a time of deep understanding. Take a big breath in and out and close your eyes for a second. Let the air fill your lungs, and as you let out your breath, let go of any fears and questions that are still there. Take a moment to be in this very moment. We are going on a trip in this holy place to find out a secret that has been told for ages. You are everything. Picture yourself standing on the edge of a huge, calm ocean with the horizon spread out in front of you forever. There is a deep connection between you and the water, the sky, and the whole world as you look out into the ocean. This link is more than just poetic. It's what makes you who you are. The idea that you are everything is deeply rooted in both biblical and philosophical lessons from long ago. In the Gospel of John, Jesus says, "I and the Father are one." This statement goes beyond faith differences and encourages us to find the divine in ourselves. The divine is not different from you. You are an important part of it. In a talk between Prince Arjuna and Lord Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita, a holy book in Hinduism, says the same thing. Krishna shows that he is divine by saying, "I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything comes from me." This statement is not an ego-driven claim, but an insight into how everything is linked. You, dear seeker, are a form of this divine source. Take a moment to think about this. Life is a complex web that connects all of us. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, and every thought and feeling you have is proof of this. An old Greek thinker named Heraclitus said, "The soul is dyed the color of its thoughts." What colors are you using to paint your soul? Are they shades of fear and hate, or shades of love and unity? The idea of non-duality, also known as Advaita, is very important in the field of meditation. According to this philosophy, there is no real difference between the self and the rest of the world. The mind makes the abyss, the heart crosses it, the great sage Ramana Maharshi often said. When we get out of our minds and into our hearts, we start to see the oneness that runs through everything. Think about the Bible story about Moses and the bush that burned. When Moses meets the bush that burns but doesn't go out, it tells him, "I am who I am." This mysterious statement shows that the Holy Presence is eternal and doesn't change. It serves as a reminder that we all have the same divine spark, the same eternal soul. Remember, friend, that you are not alone as you walk this spiritual road. The way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart, Buddha once said. Your trip is an inner journey to find the love and wisdom that are already inside you. It's a journey to accept who you really are and see how small you are in comparison to the world. When you feel like the world is too heavy to carry, remember these words from the Sufi mystic Rumi. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. They tell us that our essence is huge and unfinished. We are not limited by the limits of our bodies. We are infinite, linked, and will always be. Let me tell you a story that shows this very well. In a small town, there lived an old woman who was known for being very spiritual and wise. A young man came up to her one day, upset about all the bad things going on in the world. "How can I find peace in such a tumultuous world?" he asked me. A wise man smiled and gave him a small mirror. She told me to look in this mirror. "What do you see?" I asked. "I see myself," the boy said. "Exactly," the older person replied. "Now imagine that this mirror represents the world. When you see chaos and suffering, it is a reflection of what is within you. Change your inner world, and the outer world will change as well." This easy but deep lesson gets to the heart of our journey. You are everything. You have to work on yourself first if you want to see peace, love, and unity in the world. You will start to see the world through new eyes as you change the scenery inside you. The old Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu has a lot to teach you as you continue to explore the depths of your being. He wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power." To get to real power and wisdom, you have to learn about yourself and master yourself. Think about how everything is linked to everything else. The air you breathe has been taken in by many other people and animals. Through rivers, seas, and clouds, the water you drink has reached you from every part of the earth. The stars above have seen galaxies merge and split apart, and now their light is shining on your way. The Dalai Lama said, "We are guests on this planet. We are here for no more than 90 or 100 years. During that time, we must try to do something good, something useful with our lives. Your life is a precious gift, a unique experience of God. Get in touch with it all and know that your influence can make the world a better place." As you asked, let us go back to the picture of the ocean. Feel the waves gently wash over your feet as you stand by the water. Listen to the waves' steady beat while you close your eyes. Picture yourself blending with the ocean with each breath, becoming one with its vastness. Feel the huge amount of love and energy that flows through you. You are a part of the world, not something separate from it. Each morning, you are like the sun rising, the moon shining, and the stars shining in the sky. You are the wind, the birds, and the trees. Everything is you, and you are everything. Keep this fact in your heart as you go on your spiritual path. It should guide what you do, how you think, and how you treat other people. When you're facing problems, know that you have all the strength in the world inside you. When you feel joy, remember that it comes from the holy joy that fills the whole world. A Christian mystic named Meister Eckhart said, "The eye with which I see God is the same eye with which God sees me." This deep statement asks us to see how everything is connected. The holy presence that lives in you is the same presence that lives in everything else. Happy birthday, friend. You are a miracle and proof of the universe's boundless love and creation. Accept who you really are and let that show in everything you do. Don't forget that everything is you and you are everything. Take a moment to sit in stillness as we come to the end of this trip. Take deep breaths and feel how your heart is linked to the rest of the world. Take this knowledge with you and let it light your way. You're not by yourself. You're a part of something bigger. You are everything. Let peace, love, and unity guide your steps, and know that you are a divine expression of the world. Secrets in the Bible. There is a wealth of knowledge in the Bible that speaks directly to the deep ideas of oneness, non-duality, and the divine spirit that lives inside all of us. The Bible is more than just a book of stories and rules. It's a spiritual guide that has been read many times over the course of thousands of years. Different traditions have added to or taken away from different writings, which has shaped the versions we have now. For instance, the Protestant Bible doesn't include the 19 interesting books called the Apocrypha or Deuterocanonical books, which have deep spiritual meanings. Let's look into these hidden gems and see what lessons they hold that can change your life. You are God. Think that you are God. This is one of the most powerful and maybe even controversial thoughts. It's not about pride or blasphemy. It's about finding the divine spark inside you. There is a very clear mention in the Gospel of Thomas, which is not in the Bible but is very important in Gnostic beliefs. Jesus says, "He who drinks from my mouth will become like me. I myself shall become he, and the things that are hidden will be revealed to him." In saying 77 of the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "I am the light that is over all things. I am all. From me all came forth, and to me all came to be. Split a piece of wood, I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there." This saying emphasizes the omnipresence of the divine and suggests that Jesus is present in everything as a manifestation of the divine. It shows the idea of oneness, which says that everything has the same divine nature and that the divine can be found in everything in the world. This deep comment makes me think that Jesus and the seeker are one, that the seeker is a reflection of the divine in all of us. It's similar to what God says in Psalm 82:6. "I have said, you are gods, you are all sons of the Most High." This isn't a call to be proud, but to see our real nature and stop believing that we are separate, making and being one. Another powerful idea in these hidden writings is the idea of oneness and creation. Part of the Apocrypha, the Wisdom of Solomon, talks very well about how everything is connected. Wisdom 1.7 says, "The Spirit of the Lord fills the world, and that which holds all things together knows what is said." This verse tells us that there is one divine force that holds everything together in a dance. In the same way, the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, talks about how all living things are linked. All things are in pairs, each the opposite of the other, but nothing the Lord made is incomplete. Everything complements the goodness of the other. This idea of duality and complementarity points to a deeper unity, a oneness in which each part is essential to the whole's harmony. Non-duality and more. A lot of different spiritual groups believe in the idea of non-duality, which says that all dualities, like good and evil, light and dark, and self and other, are actually just illusions. These deep truths are also talked about in the apocryphal works. In the Book of Enoch, an old book that is very important to Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, there is a picture of God that goes beyond the normal opposites. In Enoch's visions, the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. These visions show a world beyond the good and bad things we experience on earth. In 1 Enoch 1:9 it says, "And behold, he comes with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things that ungodly sinners have spoken against him." This passage emphasizes the idea that God's presence permeates everything, uniting the physical and the spiritual in a single vision of judgment and restoration. In 1 Enoch 39:12, there is a vision of unity. "And the elect one shall sit on my throne in those days, and all the secrets of wisdom and counsel shall flow from his mouth, for the Lord of spirits has given them to him and has glorified him." The elect one is often seen as a figure of the Messiah or a representation of divine wisdom. He or she represents the unity of all divine knowledge and authority, just as creation and divine will are one. The canonical writings also have hints of the idea of non-duality. In John 17:21, Jesus prays for his disciples, that they all may be one, as you, Father, are in me, and I am in you, that they also may be one in us. This prayer isn't just for unity among people, it's also for a deep unity with God, where there are no more boundaries between us and him. The Apocrypha has some hidden gems. Let's look more closely at some specific Apocrypha books and the spiritual ideas they contain. 1 and 2 Esdras. These books, which are also called Ezra and Nehemiah in the Hebrew Bible, have extra material that talks about healing and God's justice. 2 Esdras 7:42 says, "The Most High did not make one world, but two." This interesting phrase suggests that there are more than one realm or plane, which encourages us to think about reality in a bigger way. Tobit and Judith. These history books are more than just stories. They teach us important moral and spiritual lessons. Angel Raphael tells Tobit in Tobit 12:6 to thank God, give him the praise and the glory before all the living. Acknowledge the many good things he has done for you. This reminder to praise and honor the divine in our daily lives strengthens the idea that we are connected to the Creator in a living, breathing way. As we already said, the wisdom of Solomon and Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, are full of lessons about the nature of God and our place in the world. In Wisdom of Solomon 7:26, it says that wisdom is a reflection of eternal light, a spotless mirror of the working of God, and an image of His goodness. This beautiful language encourages us to see ourselves as reflections of the divine light and act in ways that reflect its goodness. Baruch and the letter of Jeremiah are both books that talk about how trustworthy God is and how foolish it is to worship other gods. Learn where there is wisdom, where there is strength, and where there is understanding. This way you can also figure out where there is length of days and life, light for the eyes, and peace. This call to seek wisdom and understanding is similar to the spiritual search for deeper truths and the awareness of God's presence in all parts of life. Getting up to you, our God. In the quiet moments of everyday life, there is a deep truth ready to be found, that we all have a divine essence, a spark of the infinite right inside us. This journey of finding isn't about looking for something outside of yourself. It's about waking up to what's been there all along. Take a moment to think about something easy, like watching the sunrise. Sam is amazed by the rising sun, just like everyone else. Sam starts to feel like he's connected to something bigger in this moment of silence and just being there. This beautiful and peaceful moment hints at a deeper truth. The beauty that you see outside is also inside you. For a long time, people have known that the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. This inner divinity is something that Sam's friend Alex, who is very interested in spiritual beliefs, talks about a lot. Do you realize, Alex asks, that every tradition speaks of this truth, that within us lies an ocean of consciousness, a boundless expanse where all life begins? It's like what the Bhagavad Gita says, "I am the Self, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all creatures." Sam and Alex's talks are more than just them exchanging ideas. They are really reflections of the divine dialogue that goes on inside each person. It means realizing that we are not separate from God, but rather that we are expressions of God, living examples of the creative power of the world. This awareness is beautifully reflected in nature, where everything from the tall mountains to the fast-moving rivers holds the divine. Thoughts and dreams have the power to shape reality, just like the world came into being from a single thought. When we realize that we are makers, we are filled with the same force that made the stars. But what does it mean to really know you are God and live as a woke being? It means finding the divine in everyday things, seeing the holy in every moment, and realizing that our daily lives are connected to our spiritual journey. It means looking for the special in the everyday. Putting this fact into practice changes how we deal with the world. When problems come up, we don't react out of fear or separation. Instead, we reply out of love and friendship. We don't see other people as strangers. We see them as images of ourselves, as different aspects of God. Getting awake isn't always easy on this road. It asks us to let go of deeply held beliefs and see past the false ideas of being separate. But it is also a road full of deep joy, peace, and a connection that can't be put into words. Let's help each other remember who we really are as we go on this trip together. Let's talk about how we woke up, not to persuade others, but to push ourselves to find out more about ourselves. We all have the potential to become enlightened. We can reach that potential by understanding who we have always been, not by changing into someone we are not. Finally, think about the words that people often say when they are thinking, "In the stillness of eternity, before the dance of creation, I am." This is not an expression of ego, but of our shared identity. It's a recognition that each of us is a unique representation of God going through the human experience. Let us remember this in our hearts as we go about our daily lives. Let's see the divine in each other and treat that part of ourselves with respect. When we realize this, we really wake up. We realize that we are not just a part of the story of God, but that we are God itself experiencing itself through the lens of mankind. You are everything. Think about how wise old books and spiritual lessons are. Every religion, from the mystical parts of the Bible to the deep insights of Buddhism, points to one truth: the divine spirit that lives inside each of us. Think about what Christ said. "The kingdom of God is within you." Luke 17:21. This statement isn't just a figure of speech. It's an invitation to find out more about the limitless, bright nature of our own awareness. Christ's lessons tell us to look inside ourselves and see that the divine is not something far away or different from us, but is what we are. In the same way, the idea of Atman, or the inner self, in Hinduism's ancient wisdom, points to this truth. The Chandogya Upanishad says, "Tat Tvam Asi," which means, "You are that." This deep statement shows that the soul, Atman, of each person, and the soul of all people, Brahman, are the same thing. In this way, we understand that at the heart of our being lies the infinite, the eternal, and the very essence of the world. Buddhism also helps us understand this because it focuses on happiness. The fact that every conscious being has a Buddha nature shows that we can awaken to our true nature. It means that knowledge, or realizing our own divinity, is not something we can reach, but something we have to find. It's already inside us, just waiting to be seen. We can start to see a pattern or a common theme that runs through all of these lessons if we look closely. It's the knowledge that we are more than just temporary humans. We are expressions of the divine and are part of the process of making the world. This creative power is in every thought and deed we have. What does it mean for each of us to wake up to this truth? To live in this way, we must be aware that we are connected to everything around us. It means seeing other people not just as other people, but as reflections of ourselves, as forms of the same divine spirit. It changes the way we think about love, kindness, and understanding, so we can live from a place of deep togetherness and connection. This awakening changes how we live our lives all the time. It asks us to be present and fully experience the here and now, knowing that we are expressing the divine in every moment. It tells us to pay more attention, not just to what other people say, but also to the silence between them, because that's where the voice of God whispers. When we think about these teachings, we find ourselves on a path that keeps unfolding, a road that makes us more aware of our divine nature. It's a journey that asks us to let go of the ego's claims and accept the love and wisdom that live inside us. Let's help each other out with kindness and compassion as we start this trip together. Let's talk about our ideas and experiences, knowing that each of us is a unique expression of God and is on a road that will lead us home, to the realization that we are God awakening. We not only find peace in this understanding, but also a deep sense of purpose. We know that our lives are a gift, a chance to discover the depths of who we are and make a difference in the world through the spread of awareness. This understanding frees us and urges us to act. It reminds us that we all have the power to make things, love others, and heal. So, let's live with this knowledge, accepting the divine in and around us. This will help us awaken to the truth of who we really are. You are God's way of seeing the world. You are God's way of seeing how the world was made. For a moment, imagine that all of the things you think make you who you are gone. Your memories, the language you speak, your past experiences, and all of your connections. What's left? While this may seem like a trip into nothingness, it's truly a journey into the very core of who you are. There is only the I at its heart, empty of everything else. It's not a feeling of being alone or empty, but the pure you. It is this I that is consciousness itself, the basic stuff that everything is made of. This I at the core is not just a passive observer. It is the world itself, living and watching through your senses. You are more than just a part of the universe. You are how the universe, or God, communicates with and knows its creation. Because of this deep connection, the things you do, the feelings you have, and the ideas you have are not just your own, but are immediately linked to the search for understanding and exploration that everyone is on. Every single moment of your life is a one-of-a-kind time when the world, or God, lives and goes through you. Think about what you do every day. You get up, brush your teeth, eat food, and then go about your day. These things may seem normal, but each moment has more meaning when you think of them as the world looking at itself through you. It's not just you who enjoys your morning coffee. The world also feels the taste, the warmth, and the ritual of the morning through your senses. You are the channel through which the world, or God, feels what it made. Let's look into this idea more with some simple examples from our daily lives. What's really going on when you listen to your favorite music? Those beats and songs are more than just sound waves making you hear them. They are the world going through happy, sad, nostalgic, and exciting feelings through you. The universe made those sounds by a complicated mix of physical rules working together. It can now hear and feel them through your heart and ears. Take a moment to think about the feeling of the breeze on your skin, the fresh smell of the grass and flowers, and the sound of kids laughing as they play. There is more to these than meets the eye. They are the universe's ways of touching, smelling, and hearing its own beauty. You are the way that the world experiences itself. Something deep is going on even when you're talking to other people. When two people talk, hug, or smile at each other, the world works together. There are more connections than just people. The world is using its creations to learn about and experience more of its own variety and complexity. But what do you do when things get hard? The world also uses these times to grow, be strong, and come up with new ideas. People like you who are trying to solve problems and get past problems are ways that the world tests and grows itself. You don't just solve your own problems, you teach the world how to grow by getting through tough times. Being creative is another beautiful thing about this. Whether you're painting, writing, cooking, or just coming up with a new idea at work, you are the world showing how creative it is. The things you make are not separate from the universe. They are how the universe shares its beauty and ideas and explores its own possibilities. This link grows stronger in times of stillness and quiet. As you meditate or just be still, you become aware of how big the world really is. You can really feel at these times that you are more than your thoughts and experiences. You are the awareness that doesn't change, in which all thoughts and experiences show up. This point of view is strong and can change things. Being aware that you are the only thing in the universe and that you are the universe itself, feeling itself, can change the way you live your life. You are the universe living as a person. You are not just a person going through the world. Realizing this can make you feel less alone and more linked to everything around you. Your happiness and sadness, your pleasures and pains, are all ways that the world shows you the variety of life. If you're happy, the universe is celebrating. If you're sad, the universe is looking for meaning and depth. Your physical and mental feelings are how the universe feels itself. There is only you, and this you is the consciousness through which the world, or God, experiences itself. Keep this in mind the next time you feel overwhelmed or disconnected. Your presence is not a random blip in the vast universe. It is an important part of the universe's journey to find itself. Use what you've learned in your everyday life. Let the world taste through you when you eat. Let the world laugh through you when you laugh. Let the world feel your tears when you cry. Let the world love through you when you love. This isn't just a beautiful way to look at life. It's the truth about what life is by its very core. You are here to do things, and let the universe do things through you. You are not in a passive role. This is the most active and important part you could play. You are the universe's way of experiencing its own beauty, difficulties, happiness, and sadness. Remember that each breath you take is proof of this amazing truth. You are more than just a person. You are the world in human form, and everything flows through you. This world's poem, story, or creation is your life. These ideas should help you as you go through life. Be true to yourself, love deeply, and pay close attention. Ask questions, care about others, and have guts. These aren't just good ways to live your life. They're the only ways the world can fully meet itself. In the end, there is only you, the awareness that doesn't change and is always there. This is what all life is about. Know this, and you will have the freedom to be yourself, the peace to enjoy every moment, and the love to share with everyone. You are the world expressing itself as a person for a short time, and every moment gives you a chance to enjoy and celebrate the wonder of being alive. When you feel the sun on your face, the wind in your hair, or the ground under your feet, know that you are the universe experiencing itself. And this is the deepest, most beautiful, and most important truth you can ever know. Keep in mind that every step, breath, and thought you have is part of a big dance with the universe as you learn more about the many ways you connect with the world. Every tree, cloud, and star you see is looking back at you in a shared celebration of life. In your quietest times, you may realize that the voices in your head, those never-ending worries and thoughts, are not really yours. They are the universe's way of exploring all the possible outcomes in its own mind. Being able to watch these thoughts without identifying with them shows that you are the observer, the pure consciousness, and not the thoughts or emotions that come and go. Picture the ocean. You are not the waves that move on the surface. You are the huge, deep water that those waves are built on. Your true nature is like this deep water, stable, calm, and deep, not affected by the chaos on the surface. When you understand that you are the only one who exists and will always exist, life turns into a play, a holy Leela, where everything that happens, no matter how big or small, is a part of the big show. You stop trying to hold on to the good times and run away from the bad ones. You start to see them as normal parts of life. When you live by this knowledge, you shine like a beacon of peace and security. The people around you can feel how deep and calm you are. Your presence heals others and creates a place where they can meet their own universal essence. This knowledge also makes you more empathetic and compassionate. Since you know that you are the universe having an experience, you don't see other people as separate beings, but as different parts of the universe's experience. Being able to see the same essence in everyone makes your relationships more meaningful and full of love. So, go on this journey within and find that there is only you, the vast, continuous awareness in which everything happens. This journey isn't about getting somewhere. It's about realizing what you've always been and always will be, the essence of everything that lives. Coming to this understanding is not the end. It is the start of a life filled with more awareness, peace, and love. Remember that every moment is a chance to connect with this deep truth and let the beauty of the world show itself through you. You? Ogi God. You're not as far away from God as you think. Prepare to learn a deep truth that will bring you closer to God than you ever thought possible as I describe this. Think for a moment that your name, gender, language, experiences, and position in the family and among friends make up your identity. It's like a heavy backpack that you've been carrying around without realizing it. How you see and deal with the world is affected by every part of who you think you are. What if you could put that bag down for a while? What would be left? You, in this case, means all of your events and relationships with people and things. It includes every part of who you are. When these layers are temporarily taken off, what's left is the core of who you are, free and unburdened. You came into the world without any ideas about who you were when you were born. At first, there was only the experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. Think about a baby. I am looking at a red toy doesn't come to mind. There's only the clear, vivid experience of the color red and the shape of the toy. Your parents and the people around you started to give these events names as you grew up. This made you feel like you were different from everything else. There was me, and there was everything else. There was no I in you when you were born. There was only the world you could see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. When your parents called your name more than once after about a year, you started to separate your identity into I, here inside my body, and other things and people out there, outside my body. Your personality and so-called ego were formed during this time. Your ego, a part of who you are, started to solidify as you took on a name and started to connect with different parts of your life, like your gender, your roles, and your preferences. This ego isn't just a fixed thing. It's always changing because of interactions and events. Think about a day in your life. Your surroundings, choices, and even your thoughts shape who you are from the moment you wake up. All of this adds up to you, the energy that is held together every day in your body as a kind of sum of thoughts, memories, and experiences that show up as a kind of hazy tension in your body. This energy stays in your body from the time you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep at night. You may not even notice this steady sense of self or ego. It's like buzzing noise in the background, but it's this noise that can keep you from experiencing life as it really is, a direct, unedited connection with the world. After getting rid of the labels, the past, and the ego, what's left is a deeper, broader sense of being that is linked to everything. Some people might call this sense of being God. You can connect with a common truth that makes you feel less separate from the world if you put aside what you think defines you, even if only for a moment. The divine meets you here, in this clear and light area. You're not just close to God. You know that you are an expression of the divine itself, without all your names and stories. Many spiritual traditions stress humility, self-transcendence, and lowering the ego in order to have a stronger link with the divine. The phrase, "the less of you, the more of God," echoes this idea. This idea reminds me of a famous quote from the Christian New Testament that is said by John the Baptist about Jesus Christ. "He must increase, but I must decrease." John 3:30. This is more than just a thought experiment. It's a way to enter a new world where every moment is filled with a holy simplicity. The knowledge that you are naturally linked to everything is both freeing and deep. With no pride, you are truly equal to God. God in the situation can mean different things to different people. Among other names, it could be called awareness, love, bliss, the universe, your higher self, the all, or non-duality. What does the stand for, though? You before your ego was made is the easy answer. In other words, When you were born, you were God. There was nothing wrong with you. You were as pure as the bed you slept on or the clothes you wore. The bed and the clothes didn't think or feel anything about their place on earth. They just existed, just like your body did. The bed, your clothes, and your body were all in the same room, but they were all separate. These things were just three groups of atoms. To tell them apart, you would need a mind with an ego that labels and judges things as good, bad, warm, cold, soft, hard, etc. Let's look into this idea more deeply. For you, something, God, we mean taking away the layers of who you think you are that have built up over the years, like your beliefs, labels, jobs, and the story you tell yourself about who you are. Each of these is like a veil that hides the bright spirit below. Now, picture a day in your life when these layers weren't there. What's left without the parts you play, like parent, worker, friend, or even citizen? There is a part of you that just watches, experiences, and lives without attaching itself or judging. As you look at this observer, you feel connected to something bigger, a presence that knows the core of everything. Think about how the universe works. It is huge, connected, and always changing, but it is also basically stable and one. When you don't have an ego, these traits show up in your true character. You are not just a spectator in the world, you are dancing with it all the time. When you realize this, you get closer to understanding your divine nature. This understanding isn't just an idea, it affects the way you live your life right now. You can find a lot of peace and potential when you start to see yourself as more than just your past or your plans for the future. True compassion, love, and joy can come up in this space. These are traits that people often attribute to a higher power or divine essence. Realizing that you, ego, God, means seeing the divine nature that is already inside you, but hidden by things that aren't important. When you peel back these layers, you get closer to your real self and to the truths that connect all people.